Hey everybody, Merry Christmas. It's that time of year again when we start thinking about what this year has brought us, and as the new official harbinger of all things adventure for Mom and Dad as their official spokesbearer, I get to recap a strange and wondrous year. The beginning of the year looked pretty spectacular. Bruce was voted in as the chair of the Harbor Committee at Shelter Bay as well as facilities. And Mom was voted in as the new Rear Commodore for the Shelter Bay Yacht Club. Mom and Dad went to Montreal in December for the annual BBB, or Bruce's Birthday Bash, which is always a surprise for Bruce, a week-long trip, because being born at Christmas time, you never really got a different day than Christmas. So, they stayed at an old historical hotel owned by the former CEO of Guess Jeans, who is a long-time art collector. The suite was filled with original art, as were the halls, the foyer, and, well, just about every place, including the men's room. Ha! They ate their way through the city, hiking 6 or 7 miles a day, went to the Formula One racetrack and stood at the Wall of Champions, where just about every world champion Formula One driver has kissed the wall with their multi-million-dollar race car. Dad got to see all the kisses and realized that some of them just were never going to rub out. The night before they departed, they went to Cirque du Soleil and had a midnight dinner and an 8-course brunch the morning of, with audio-visual experiences describing the food, where it came from and how it grew, and then how it was prepared. Well, they came home, switched out their bags for Kauai, and spent 2 glorious weeks in Hawaii, where they met up with friends, and in fact, their pilot was one of their friends, Nikki McQuillan, who went to dinner with them the first night out and took them to one of her favorite restaurants, which is now Mom and Dad's favorite restaurant too. When they returned, they found the house in good order, as I am not the average bear. I know how to cover my tracks. And then there was the annual Shelter Bay Yacht Club crab dinner, which they hosted with Ken and Susan Olsen. And they repacked their bags to go on their annual winter getaway with the Gertners. Every year, Mom writes a play for the kids, and they share it with their audience. This year, they went to Sleeping Lady in Leavenworth at Icicle Creek, where there was a real stage. And so they ended up with a real audience. June did her best to get Mom to rewrite the play. Jasper did his best to stay engaged, and Ezra was just happy about being Ezra. And so this year's production of Mission Impossible was a hit. But the Gertner dad got sick, was feeling kind of tired, achy, dry cough, fever. He didn't get out much and didn't even go to the cliffside hot tub. Well, apparently he was a COVID carrier, because he'd been traveling, and so everybody got COVID, and even Mom and Dad. But they'd been taking vitamin C, vitamin D, garlic, and oregano, and so they hardly got sick at all. And then, of course, there was the national lockdown. Not a good happy place for Mom and Dad, as they are really social animals. But seeing as they are already had the antibodies, they went on with life as usual. They did start a dinner and a movie night with Netflix Party, and supporting local restaurants with the Yacht Club members, John and Janice Sturgis, adding in their kettle corn. Did that for 4 weeks until the bridge thought that was probably enough fun for everyone. But Mom and Dad, surprisingly, had a lot of requests to continue doing it, so there were many who participated on after that. Then there was the time when Mom and Dad got pretty lax because they've already had it. They didn't worry about masks, and there were a lot of other people who didn't really care or worry, and because they'd had it. So there was a socializing going on that no one got sick and no one was a carrier, so that worked out okay. Then they started their remodel. They added a new deck, cut down some trees, did some landscaping, put in a new water feature, remodeled the boat, sold one of the rentals, upgraded the interior on the boat, and then they had to put in new duckbills. Yeah, got your attention on that one, didn't you? Bet you didn't know what a duckbill was. A duckbill is a funny-shaped rubber piece in the poop line of a boat. Yep, Dad got to fix those all on his own. Us bears have a saying. We like to build things with our bare hands, but not replace duckbills. Really, that's a bear saying. Mom's saying that too. So that reminds me of a joke. You know how to tell the difference between a black bear, a brown bear, and a grizzly bear? At the national parks, they say if you hike, carry bells with you and warn the bears, you are in the woods, and pepper spray just in case the bears didn't hear the bells. Well, if you watch the trails and see bear poop with leaves and berries in it, well, that's from a black bear or a brown bear. If you see bear poop with bells in it that smells a little bit like pepper spray, that's a grizzly. Anyway, summer came along. Mom and Dad got in the boat. 6 weeks of plenty of exploring in the San Juans. Crabbed until they couldn't eat another recipe with crab in it. Met up with friends. Did reciprocals with other yacht clubs. All the way from the Canadian border, not crossing it, down to Olympia. Met with friends Larry and Barbara Swanson. The Gig Harbor Yacht Club, Rick and Pam Gordon. I even went to a party with the Gig Harbor Yacht Club in Gig Harbor, where the former drummer from Heart was playing bridge, playing rock and roll off of his bridge. Got to see the old neighborhood down at Three Tree Point. Had dinner on board with the Gertners, Mom and Dad's friends from University Place, Wild and Diane. Had dinner with cousin Jody and Larry, and brunch with son Chad. And then met new friends, Kevin and Sandy from Idaho, who weathered a storm for 2 days, and that was about the only bad weather they had. Had other dock mates like blue heron, seals, otters, saw the occasional dolphin and a few starfish. Drove by Mom's friend from over almost 60 years ago, Annie Gammon, and they've seen each other ever since. Been fun for them. Coming through fall, Mom was getting a really sore jaw, and so they started thinking about how are they going to travel with the COVID restrictions, so they started thinking about buying a Fleetwood. Even though Mom's jaw hurt, they used Rick and Pam as their sounding board and ended up buying a 35-foot Fleetwood Bounder with 1.5 bathrooms and a clothes washer. So that got pretty interesting, and Mom and Dad decided that with the new home security system that I didn't have to bear arms at home but could go with them as their mascot. I am now official. We have remodeled the motor coach, going down to California to pick up the new furniture, and then guess what? Dad found out that motor coaches also have duckbills in them. I had to inform him that as much as bears in general like to work with their bare hands, it was just asking way too much for me to participate in any duckbill replacement duty. And Mom reiterated that for her as well. However, Mom would fix him snacks after he was done cleaning up, and I would clean up after him eating the snacks. So, as Mom was still having headaches, she decided to get that figured out a little bit more, and turns out she was up for surgery. So now Mom looks a lot like a great sunset. Yellow and purple and big fat puffy clouds, cheeks. Well, through it all, Mom stopped breathing. And yeah, this isn't the first time she'd ever done that during surgery, but she kept thinking that she was going to see light at the end of the tunnel and instead just saw blackness. So she now has to recognize that there's no light for her at the end of this tunnel, and so she said she's just going to quote Winston Churchill. I am prepared to meet my maker. Whether my maker is prepared for the ordeal of meeting me is yet another matter. So finally, at the end of this week before Christmas, Mom is recovering, Dad's drinking a lot of happy juice, seeing as Mom can't have any, and life is quiet until January. Watch us out on YouTube channel when we launch our On the Road Again series, and take care everybody. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas.